One of the first objections that I got to my little challenge to atheism, to hit the Indic faiths or philosophies with their best shot, was, oh no, it's not up to me to state my case against Hinduism. It's Hinduism that's making the positive claim. Defend that claim, Hinduism, or Buddhism, or whatever. To which I can only reply, you're going to have to explain to me what positive claim Hinduism is making, or Buddhism, or Jainism, because most of these faiths are, in many ways, or apparently, self-contradictory. They believe in gods, and yet they don't believe in gods. They believe in the soul, and yet they don't believe in the soul. They believe in the necessity of living in this world, and yet they express the ultimate futility of life in this plane of existence. It's a form of thinking, a form of philosophizing that seems to thrive on contradiction. Whereas to our Western dialectical sort of logical mind, contradictions express or reveal an error. But I would say that the contradictions are apparent, not real. The contradictions are often deliberate, as in the case of Zen. You deliberately say something bizarre or contradictory in order to get somebody's mind working on figuring it out, or figuring out the assumptions behind the idea that what is being said is actually contradictory. It isn't necessarily so. It may just be a fault of the language or sloppy thinking on behalf of the person who says that that's illogical. So again, what does a Hindu believe? Well, I would say that in common with Buddhism and Jainism, the only thing that it really does believe, or that all three of them share, are the ideas of karma and samsara. Now, I'm using the English versions of these words, forgive me. Karma is not the nice idea that, do unto others and then good things will be done unto you. It doesn't work like that. It's just, it's nothing to do with morals at all. It's just karma is the result of human action that accumulates over time. It's an enormous theory, enormously complex, but I don't really have time to get into it in this little short video. But the other one is samsara, which is the transmigration of souls. Now that one was the first one that got attacked. There, transmigration of souls, don't believe in that one at all. There, Hinduism or all these Eastern philosophies are making a positive claim that I challenge. Well, okay, first of all, do you know what you're challenging? Do you understand what you're talking about when we say things like the transmigration of souls? Do you understand what is being referred to as a soul? Do you understand the soul's relationship to other souls? Or is there a relationship? Are they just parts of the same whole? It's not as easy a thing to pin down as one might think. Reincarnation seems easy enough. When I die, my consciousness or whatever goes into somebody else's body, or it goes into a new body when I'm born again, that sort of thing. But what exactly is that? What aspect is it that goes from me to this new body? That's unclear. And in many ways, if you ask me, it's simply an admission that we don't know where consciousness comes from prior to life. We don't know where it goes after life. But we do know that for a time there is some sort of link between the physical body and consciousness. But finally, at the end of the day, we don't even know what consciousness is. So you have to understand all of these things and work them out clearly before you can even start talking about things like the soul. Gigantic, earth-shattering ideas like the soul. People just toss these words around as though you were talking about a cartoon character. It's not anywhere near as simple as we seem to think it is. And this, of course, leads me to the other point, that Hinduism and all the other Eastern traditions generally emphasize is a distrust of words. You cannot get at reality itself using words for other than just signposts along the way. I'll quote a fellow that I read first when I was about 19. His name is Ronald Nixon. Sri Krishna Prem he became. He was one of the first of the long line of Europeans that went off to India to find themselves. Shankaracharya, who was a great Hindu thinker, as is well known, affirmed that everything is the self, Atma, while the Buddha proclaimed as the essence of wisdom the perception of the non-self nature of reality, Naitranaya. The average reader has already either taken up sides upon the argument and so treats one of the views as simply wrong, or else considers it as a matter for argument and debates it with himself or with others, hoping thereby to arrive at the truth. In other words, which one of these 2 points of view is right? Is everything the soul, or is everything the not soul? But this is quite the wrong procedure. We must remember that reality is not labeled, so that a man who has seen it has merely to read the label correctly and all is well. Reality is beyond the mind and its labels. We affix them for our own convenience, but it is we who made them, and they are never more than symbolic finger-posts pointing the way for what is beyond. Moreover, they are symbols that mean different things to different persons. Instead, therefore, of assuming that the self, Atma, and the not-self, Anatma, are things of which one is true and the other is false, we must remember that they are attempted descriptions in words of some characteristic of what was experienced without words. Instead of asking which is the true description, we should try and understand what characteristic it was of the experienced reality that led Shankara to use the term he did, and what the characteristic was which led to the Buddha to use its exact opposite. We shall then find out that there is no contradiction, for in fact they were not talking of the same characteristics at all. So beware when getting into things like disproving ideas. You may not actually have the other guy's idea down pat. That goes for Hinduism, that goes ultimately for any faith or philosophy. Thank you.